Hey, everybody. So it's just me today. We're just going to be talking about my top 5 favorite movies of the 1950s. We're going to be starting a series where we discuss the top 5 movies of each decade, and we're going to start from the 50s and work our way up to the 2010s. Without further ado, let's get started with the 1950s. So to start the list off, at number 5, we have 12 Angry Men, which was released in 1957 under the, I want to say, United Artists production company. This movie was about 12 jurors on a jury who are hearing a trial about a teenager that is supposedly murdered someone. All the witnesses that are in the film say they saw him and heard him talking about wanting to kill the guy, and then someone says they see him kill the guy, but then one juror basically questions all of it and starts telling the other jurors, like, there's not enough information to go off of this. We can't just say he's guilty based off of what we have. It causes all the other jurors to start questioning their morals and their values. Overall, really like the acting in this movie. The story is really well written. I think it's only like an hour and a half long, but it's a very well written movie, and it gets to the point. And it's definitely one of the best movies from the 50s. I've given this one a 9 out of 10.
You're letting him slip through our fingers.
Slip through our fingers? Are you his executioner?
You cut it.
These next 4 movies could go in any order because I really like all 4 of them. So for number 4 on this list, we have Seven Samurai, which was a movie that came out in 1954. And it is purely a Japanese action samurai flick. When I watched it, it literally instantly became the reason I fell in love with the Japanese culture and the idea of the samurai, and it just made me want to watch more Japanese films. But this movie was basically about a group of samurai who travel to a farm, and the farmers are basically trying to defend their farm from a group of bandits who are trying to steal their crops and all their goods and stuff like that. The samurai and the farmers become friends, and the samurai train the villagers or the farmers to protect their village from the bandits. I will say it definitely has really good acting, very emotional moments that stick with you after watching it. Yes, the acting is amazing, the directing is amazing, the cinematography is amazing, the soundtrack is amazing. I could go on about this movie. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time, I think. So I'm giving this one a 10 out of 10. So number 3 will definitely have to be Ben-Hur. I didn't really sit and watch it all the way through until 6 years ago. So Ben-Hur is a movie that came out in 1959. It is about a guy who befriends, who has a childhood friend who becomes a Roman soldier. He gets put into slavery on a Roman vessel called a galley. It's a very awesome movie about vengeance and about faith and about, I guess, dedicating your life to something more than yourself. Very well written, very well directed, and there's some very iconic scenes. Chariot race, definitely one of the most iconic scenes in cinema. Awesome movie. Love the cinematography in that movie. Love the directing, acting. The soundtrack's pretty good. Overall, again, 10 out of 10 movie. I love this film, and I will rewatch it as much as possible.
The day Rome falls, there will be a shout of freedom such as the world has never heard before.
At number 2 on the list, we have one of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies, none other than Vertigo, starring one of my favorite actors of all time, Jimmy Stewart. Vertigo came out in, I want to say, 1958. And it was a psychological thriller film. This movie got me into the genre of psychological thrillers and horror films and stuff like that. This movie was about a officer who witnesses a very tragic event happen, and then he basically retires, but gets kind of lured back in to solve a mystery. Not only is he dealing with the trauma of that thing that he experienced in his past, but he's also experiencing vertigo. He has a whole fear of heights now. Yeah, I don't want to go into the movie because if you haven't seen the movie, I just want you to watch the film and just take it in for the first time, because it's definitely one of those movies you need to watch going in pretty much blind to enjoy. The twist is very good. I did not see it coming the first time I watched it. I just thought, oh, this is a cool movie, but then when the twist happened, it blew my mind. Very good acting. Jimmy Stewart, always a great actor in everything he's in. Great visuals, great soundtrack. Alfred Hitchcock did an amazing job directing this film. Yeah, overall, I'd give this movie a 10 out of 10. It's definitely one of the best movies ever made, and definitely one of the peaks of the 1950s. Now, before I get to number one, I just want to do 3 shout outs to honorable mentions that I do think are very good films from the 1950s, and I do think that y'all should still watch them if you haven't. The first of these being the original Godzilla. Obviously, everyone knows that this film started off a huge franchise of films, and now we even have Kong and Godzilla duking it out on screen today. Another one is Rear Window. That's another Alfred Hitchcock film. It also stars Jimmy Stewart. While this is also a very good film, I did prefer Vertigo over this movie just simply because Vertigo's story was more interesting, and I was definitely more invested in that movie than Rear Window. But Rear Window is still a very good movie, and I think you should watch it because it's an interesting character study, and I think it's just a very interesting film overall. And Alfred Hitchcock, again, one of the best that's ever existed. And the third shout out I want to give is White Christmas. This is a family favorite of ours in my household. We watch this movie every Christmas. It's a very good Christmas holiday musical film, and the message of the film is also just very good, and the acting in it is phenomenal, and I do like the musical numbers. I think they're very well done, and the talent in there is exceptional. So definitely one of the best Christmas movies that I've ever seen. Finally, last but not least, at number one, we have Rio Bravo. Now, this is one of the first Westerns I think I ever watched, and my oh my, what a Western it is. John Wayne is the sheriff in this film, and that's pretty much all I gotta say. That should be enough for you to watch it right there. John Wayne's in the movie. Rio Bravo is a 1959 film, and it is about a sheriff, John Wayne, who hires 3 people, or asks for 3 people's help, to basically keep this local bad guy's brother or sibling in jail, and basically their job is to not let him escape. However, things don't always go according to plan. Things get out of hand, and it's the Wild West. Things are lawless there. Things happen. I don't want to spoil it because, again, this is a great movie. I think you should watch it. It's definitely one of the best Westerns I've ever seen. Rio Bravo is just a great movie. Visually, the directing was great. The acting was great all around. The soundtrack was pretty good for a Western movie. Had a little fun things here and there. Overall, I give this movie a 10 out of 10.
Where are you going?
Get your hands off.
I said, where are you going?
You got no use for a man you can't depend on. One bad night and I'm done for.
That's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to do another one on the 60s pretty soon, so stay tuned for that as well. Thanks, guys. Peace out.